Namaskar, hello and a very warm welcome viewers. You're watching the special presentation of Sunset TV, Samvad, with your host Kriti Mishra. And on today's show, we have a very special guest, Civil Aviation and Steel Minister, Mr. Jyotiraj Scindia. So welcome to Sunset TV and thank you so much for joining us.
Having me.
So today, let me limit my questions to Civil Aviation Ministry. And let's begin talking about Digi Yatra that you recently launched for 3 airports. That, of course, is meant for providing seamless processing of passengers. But I was reading a few articles. A lot of them raise concerns on the privacy aspect of it. How do you allay those concerns?
Very good question, Kirti. So let me tell you first of all that what Digi Yatra is doing is going to transform the experience for our customers. Using FRT, facial recognition technology, we are going to make the experience from when you enter the airport till when you board the aircraft both a seamless and a contactless process. And what I mean by that today is as opposed to 3 or 4 points of call where your identity is checked, your boarding pass is checked, through FRT you will gain a contactless process all the way till when you board. There certainly was concerns with regard to privacy, not only privacy but confidentiality.
That's true.
And on both counts, what we had started with first was that we would be centralizing your data and your information on a server. Once that decision was taken, these concerns were raised. And understanding that, we decided not to go with a centralized aggregated system, but a decentralized and a disaggregated system. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, to make it simple for our viewers, what we have decided to do is that you will download a app on your phone called Digi app and Digi Locker. Based on that, you will then raise and put in place your Aadhaar details onto that app. You will then take a recent photograph of yours, which will be then matched with your Aadhaar details. And that's it. 24 hours before you travel, you will upload that information on a blockchain system with the airport, only the airport that you're traveling with. When you reach the airport, the airport server will have your information residing in it immediately. When your photograph is taken, that photograph at that entry point will then be matched with this information, and the doors will immediately open and you'll pass seamlessly through till you board. Once you have boarded and once you have completed your journey, within a period of 24 hours, all the information that you have uploaded only onto that airport will be completely purged. And that takes care of all the issues with regard to confidentiality as well as with regard to privacy.
So all those concerns are assuaged that our data is, of course, safe. So talking about another aspect, the consolidation in this sector. After years of cutthroat competition, we saw the merger of former Air India, the national carrier, and Vistara. So how do you view the impact of this consolidation on the overall sector on the civil aviation space?
I think it's a very positive sign, and the very fact that you will have a aggregated carrier, if you will, that looks at the merger on the one hand between Air India and Vistara, and on the other hand between Air Asia and Air India Express. And you will have a single airline that will offer a bouquet to our customer, both on the FCC side, which is the full cost carrier, which will be Air India plus Vistara, and on the ULCC side, the ultra low cost carrier, which will be the combination of Air Asia and Air India Express. And I think that the value proposition will only be enhanced through this combination of an offering for our customers. You are probably reading the papers as well as I am of their fleet expansion plans.
Yes.
And the very fact that what gives me a degree of confidence that along with the narrow-bodied aircraft that they're acquiring, which are the Boeings and the Airbuses 320s as well as the Boeing 737s, They have a very aggressive plan on wide-bodied aircraft as well,
Yes.
with the Boeing 777s that they're acquiring. Now, that to me is a sign of a resurgence for us, because what is important for me as Civil Aviation Minister is for our carriers to be able to carry our Indian flag across the 7 seas. And India must endeavor to create herself a hub within India for our domestic and international travelers, as opposed to our current international hub being in our neighboring countries. So I need to ensure that we are able to recreate that hub within India. And I think that both the combination of Air India as well as all our other carriers that are slowly moving towards the wide-bodied market and the long-haul market is a very, very encouraging sign to be able to achieve that objective.
Absolutely, sir. Point well taken. Let me focus on the concerns of the passengers now.
Sure.
Sir, I buy all those arguments that supply chain disruptions, high jet fuel prices, demand, but sir, the airfare, they're absolutely off the roof. So many of us, many of the air travelers want the price capping back. Do I get some commitment from the Civil Aviation Minister?
So, first, Kirti, let me just take you back in time.
Yes,
sir. If you look at how our industry has evolved, and let me give you the analogy of what you and I can, or for that matter, any citizen in our country can no longer live without, which is this box.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, I will say, because I think rather than that box becoming our slave, we become a slave to the box.
True.
In 1993, when I returned from university and I took on my first job as a banker, fortunately till then we did not have this box in India, right?
Yes.
And you see, when this box entered, as a mobile phone entered our lexicon and our lives, initially it was a product that was priced out of our reach. Each one of these instruments costed roughly about 1 lakh rupees. You used to pay 16 rupees a minute to be able to use them. And as you saw economies of scale come in, and the oft repeated concept in economics of low margin, high volume, low margin versus low volume, high margin, that transformed the sector as well.
That's
Today, you can get a mobile phone or a handset for 3,500 rupees, and voice today is free. A similar transformation, if you will, has taken place in the area of civil aviation. In the mid-90s, when you or I would have to travel, forget about tertiary cities, but even within metros, you would be paying upwards of 30,000, 40,000 rupees per ticket. That no longer is the case.
Yeah.
Why? Because if I don't take you way back to the 90s, but let's say in 2013-14, when Prime Minister took over government, we had 74 airports in our country.
Right.
Over the last 8 years, we have built out close to about an additional 71 airports, waterdromes and heliports. That means we've doubled our capacity almost from 74 to 145. It took our country 70 years to build 74 airports, and we built 71 airports, waterdromes and heliports in a period of 8 years. That's the transformation that's taken place.
Right.
Similarly, if you look at the fleet size, in 2013-14 we had 400 aircraft in our fleet. Today we have close to 700, and we are going to grow, going back to your earlier question, between all our carriers, whether it's Indigo, SpiceJet, Air India, Akasa, other carriers hopefully that will come in. We are going to grow at roughly between 75 to 100 planes on an annual basis. So when you are going to see that volume come in, couple that with the fact that pre-COVID we had touched a high of 4,07,000 passengers per day.
Yes.
Yesterday we have broken that ceiling.
Yeah.
Yesterday we had 4,13,000 people travel in our country, right? So you're looking at a robust demand as well as supply increasing both on infrastructure and carriers. Both together will, I'm sure, provide a value proposition for both sectors to be able to evolve a robust market. Today our fares are nowhere close to where they used to be in the mid-90s.
That's right.
They're a fraction of that, if you will. But certainly there are structural issues, pricing issues that do play their part. Now, let me explain what I mean by structural or pricing issues. Our sector is a seasonal sector. So you have a